What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Imran Khan. Fucking fucked it up. I was so in my head about it.
You get 2 tries. It was fine.
Imran. I don't want to say Ran. It's my problem.
Everyone wants to say, like, at some point, I think it was like high school geometry. I just gave up. And I was like, all right.
But I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. It's just I'm so stupid. Do you understand how dumb? How you doing, Imran?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm great, man. Again, you fall into this fun category where I didn't realize you were an SF, and that's cool that you're an SF. I'm like, oh great, you can come on Games Daily. That's amazing. But then also you went and participated for the Per Schneider Intersite Championship at PAX.
I did. I lost first round.
That happened. The problem was, of course, that was such a shit show that I got to talk to no one at it. So you were on the panel with me. We never had a real conversation. This is our first time talking.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fantastic. I'm excited you're here. If people don't know, what do you do for Game Informer?
I am the news editor at Game Informer.
Oh my gosh.
So whenever you see a news story, either I had my hands on it or I wrote it.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing that?
I believe it's been a year and a half now.
Okay, cool.
So just still getting my feet wet, it feels like.
And so then how did it happen? I mean, Game Informer, when I think of Game Informer, I think of Minnesota. I think of the Midwest. How did you end up out here but being their news editor? So
I came here about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was like, okay, I want to get a job at GameSpot.
Okay.
And then that didn't happen.
Sure.
So at some point, I got laid off from my other job. I was working in healthcare at the time.
Okay.
And I figured, okay, well, this isn't happening. I should just move somewhere else. And I was preparing, I think the weekend I found out about this job, I was preparing to go to Portland to look at apartments.
Oh, wow.
And I applied for the Game Informer news editor because they were looking for someone in San Francisco, so they didn't have to fly someone here every time there's an event.
Oh,
so
okay.
I got the call from Andrew Reiner like the day before I left for Portland. He was like, hey, we're giving you the job.
And you're like, great, cancel my flight.
Pretty much, yeah. I had to end up changing a lot of things last second, but so far, dream job, so it's working out great.
So how does it work then? This is such a nerdy inside baseball question. Are you on your own timetable or are you on theirs? Like, do you wake up Central Time to be like awake with them, or is it kind of you pass the torch?
I wake up to go to a morning meeting through like FaceTime.
Yeah.
And then we handle all that stuff, and I spend the next 2 hours either sleeping or preparing for the day.
Gotcha.
Which sleeping is more or less preparing for the day.
Sure, of course. You need
and
that
then I work from then until about evening our time.
Okay.
So we have more or less the entire day covered because of time zone shenanigans.
That's awesome. Well, awesome. Okay, I'm excited you're along for the ride finally. We've been trying to get you in here. You're too busy.
I'm exceptionally busy.
Yeah, there's a lot of news and video games these days.
Thank God I could find the time because I've been watching the show for so long and I've been such a fan.
What a best friend. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. Write in kindafunny.com/KFGD with your questions, comments, bad PSN names for a little while longer, and everything else under the video game sun. Then watch us record it live, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. If you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up, so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and listening on podcast services around the globe. Housekeeping for you. XO18 is this Saturday. Xbox's big fan event out in Mexico City. They will be live streaming an Inside Xbox where they're making all sorts of announcements. So that means Kinda Funny will be streaming as well, the live reactions. You can watch on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames as we kick off at 12:45, 15 minutes before the actual press conference. This is 12:45 p.m. Saturday, so right there in the afternoon. This is Pacific time, of course. We will be live streaming reactions, talking over the conference, not even though it's not a conference, it's an Inside Xbox, whatever you want to call it, as it happens. However, breaking news for you, we won't be alone. The What's Good Games women will be joining us to stream alongside myself, Tim. That's right, Andrea, Steimer, Britt will all be here for one giant, massive, hey, what's going on at this Xbox thing? We're pretty excited. What are you expecting out of it? What's your level of excitement / newsiness you think is going to happen?
I feel like it was so quickly and abruptly announced that I'm not sure they're going to have anything. Like, they're not going to show like Xbox Scarlet or anything like that.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's going to be anything big. I think it's just going to be like, hey, here's some games exclusives. Yeah.
They said Halo Infinite won't be there, which I'm guessing that's because that game is too early right now.
Right.
But I'd be surprised if Gears wasn't. And if they've got to have at least one like big crowd-pleasing announcement.
Well, while I was gone, right, I think it was yesterday or the day before, they put up a tweet that was like, hey, we're going to show the Tomb Raider Forge DLC, something for PUBG, a big announcement for PUBG. It's like, all right, you know.
Yeah.
That seems in line with what I would expect out of this. Just another cool video game event. That's
I think
doing
the
something.
second we see the stream, if they're behind a desk, probably not much news.
Okay.
If they're on a stage, they're probably going to announce something big.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We will see. You can watch it twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames alongside us in What's Good Games, 12:45 p.m. Saturday. Also, Andrea Renee, the business lady in the business, texted me as we were going live to point out that PAX East badges are now on sale. So go get a PAX East badge if you want. We'll probably be there, but who knows? And then today we're brought to you by Quip and Brooklinen, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 4 items on the Roper Report. Cool, Greg.
A baker's dozen.
Number 1, Nintendo's removing Native American references in Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is via Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer. Nintendo has pledged it will make changes to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate after an outcry surrounding Native American character designs in the game. The designs center on Mr. Game & Watch, a retro-themed character from Nintendo's old LCD game handhelds. One of the character's moves references Fire Attack, a 1982 cowboy game where you defended a wooden fort from screaming Native Americans who wielded burning torches and wore feathers in their hair. The same design can also be seen in a separate Spirit character within the game. Nintendo previously edited Fire Attack when it was re-released on Game Boy as part of a compilation titled Game & Watch Gallery 4. Then, the feather was removed from the Native American character's hair, something Nintendo will also do in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Quote, Nintendo has been planning to distribute an update for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that removes the feather from the silhouette of Mr. Game & Watch, a Nintendo spokesperson told Eurogamer today. The original game on which this depiction of the character is based was released more than 3 decades ago and does not represent our company's values today. We sincerely apologize that this change was not noticed in our marketing material and are continuing our work to make Super Smash Bros. Ultimate an experience that is both welcoming and fun for everyone. That's the end of the news report. What do you think, Imran?
So this thing was first noticed last Friday, I think right after the Smash Brothers Direct.
The Direct, right? Yeah.
They had a live event in Japan that Sakurai was actually at, and during the junior tournament, some characters chose Mr. Game & Watch, and his forward smash, which has always been a torch, it was just like they showed the Native American thing, which is a change for Ultimate, because now they're actually having like the references to the original games as part of his imagery. Yeah. So when people saw it, they're like, this is really weird, and it became more weird when people started choosing like the red skin Mr. Game & Watch, because that became a much more like unintentional, but decidedly more graphic.
Still in the same vein of what?
And like a couple of people, I emailed Nintendo pretty much after that. I was like, hey, this is weird. Yeah. Does Nintendo have any statement on it? And they're like, we'll get back to you on it.
Yeah, I had missed this happening as it was happening. But
it wasn't like a huge like outcry.
Yeah.
It was, a couple of people noticed it, were like, it's very strange that this got past Treehouse, which is, they historically look at things like this and are like, this isn't going to fly in the West. Yeah. And this is not the first time this even happened in Smash Brothers. In I think it was Melee or Brawl, there were enemies on the Ice Climber stage that were seals. And clubbing seals is not a good Western image. So
no, people aren't a fan of that.
They changed them to Yetis in America.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that the Native American thing got past Treehouse at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. You figure it's just there's so much happening in that game to see everything and be able to take it in whatever way, I guess, would be the problem, right? That you're not looking for it on that level.
I can understand from a Japanese developer perspective of like, if you're checking, does the West dislike this imagery of Native Americans? Yeah. It's debated.
Yeah, like, sure.
Like, I was looking, Chief Wahoo from the
Cleveland Indians,
and the Braves used to use, what was it, Nakahoma?
I think, maybe.
Chief Nakahoma,
But I mean, then the Washington Redskins, right? They're holding on to that. Yeah.
So those two were retired. The Redskins still use the same imagery.
Well, that was the thing with Cleveland. Like right now it's officially retired, right? Yeah. Like it's like, and it was that thing where they brought him back for whatever last time. It was whatever. But yeah.
But like, I can understand why somebody on the outside looking in would think, okay, this probably isn't an issue in America because there's still examples of it. Sure. And it's good that they can recognize the debate and I guess recognize the right side of it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I agree with this decision that yes, this should be removed. I'm on that side of the debate, right? And I know that there are people who would argue the other way and say, no, that's not what it's supposed to be. But I'm not that person. I say good on Nintendo for this, yes.
I mean, they changed it before. Like you said, they changed it when the Game & Watch 4 on Game Boy Advance came out. Right. Like the classic version had, they referred to them as bandits in the game text. Yeah. And like the modern version, it was just straight up just Wario. So,
oh, really? I didn't even know that. Yeah.
So, like, the games had, like, a classic version to show the old Game & Watch stuff and newer versions with Mario characters. But they knew that was dicey territory.
Yeah.
And I guess it just slipped them by this time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's pre-release, so obviously they're still tweaking stuff. Bobby Wasabi writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, and talked about all that, and then said, good move by Nintendo, or could this lead to a slippery slope of other aspects of Nintendo games and Smash being censored, in quotes? The Duck Hunt's Mexican Wild Gunman comes to mind. Would love to know your thoughts, Bobby Wasabi.
Times change.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you that 30 years from now, Smash Brothers is still going on. They're going to keep things that are going on now. Like, if they put in a Mario Odyssey sombrero hat, is that going to be different?
Yeah.
But all we can do is take it case by case and see what happens.
Yeah, and slippery slope is one thing, and I know that obviously there's, I'm sure, some corners of the internet crying out that this is PC police and this, that, and the other. I think for me, it's always, I think Looney Tunes does it really well, right? And that's Warner Brothers. Yeah, they put right now when you buy the classic Looney Tunes collections, they put a statement in the front, right, of like, hey, these cartoons are products of their time, and they do things that don't represent our company now, right? But we're still leaving them in there because erasing them would be just as bad as acting like they aren't, or not having a conversation about what happens in these things. But
by the same token, like when Space Jam 2 comes out, you're not going to see Bugs Bunny doing like racist Japanese things.
100%, right? Because that's the difference here. Where I think if like they're not talking about a classic game, right? And even like re-releasing the Game & Watch thing isn't the same as trying to delete like video or whatever of what it used to be. Right now, talking about we're putting out in 2018 this game that stands for what Nintendo is now and all these amazing years and IP we've had and franchises we've had. Yeah, you need to come in and be able to come in with a critical eye and say, no, that's not what we want this to be. That's not who we are. And I applaud them for that. I think there is a difference between, yeah, exactly, Warner Brothers re-releasing, hey, here's the classic things. We want these to exist and we want you to have what they were and what people thought, but understand that that's not what this is and or who we are. But then, yeah, that Space Jam, of course, needs to be what Bugs Bunny for this era would be.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing. It's a slippery slope in terms of... It's not even a slippery slope. Like, just don't be fucking offensive to people. Like, we all know what's offensive to people, right? In terms of this, in terms of race. Like, this isn't unheard of, right?
Yeah. And like Native American representation in video games has always been kind of bad. Like, it's always been the magical Indian for as long as I can remember, even as recently as like PS2, PS3 games.
Sure.
It's like, this may not be a huge deal. Like, no one's going to boycott the game over this, I think. But it's good that they're being aware of it and they can go, okay, well, this won't cause anyone to not buy the game, but let's just change it because it make it a better product and a better representation. Right, exactly. And that's the way it's supposed to be and how it starts, I think, right? In terms of understanding that, yeah, like, okay, cool, we want a Native American in the video game. It doesn't need to be... Yeah, I mean, and I'm tell you what your point is of games that have come before and fucked it up, right? Let's not have it be what you would think of as the stereotypical spiritual Indian, right? Which is probably like a good reason why like Little Mac is the character in the Punch-Out character in the game and not say any of the other racial stereotypes.
Any of the things that haven't aged well, right?
Like, you look at Street Fighter is also a good example of like that game is still very kind of. It's very steeped in old stereotypes, and they're classic characters. Yeah. But like E Honda and Dalsim and T-Hawk especially, like we're talking about Native American stuff. Yeah. A lot. DJ I think was like a Jamaican in Cuba or something, but those games haven't aged well in that respect. But a lot of us don't even think about that critically because we were 8 when they came out. Right. And I'm not saying hey, remove these characters or whatever, but they're clearly within future characters and like DLC and Street Fighter V and all that, they're looking at that stuff more closely. Like I talked to Harada Tekken once about like, so why is there a similarity between Shaheen and Tekken and Rashid? Like, they're both Middle Eastern characters. Was there a reason you guys did that? It's like, we wanted to figure out the best way to represent the Middle East. So we wanted to make characters that could appeal to fans there and people from there that lived in other regions. And like, that's the way you do it these days. You figure out there are people who buy these games that do want to be represented, and they don't want to be cartoonish examples. Yeah, exactly. And are you a big Street Fighter fan? Yes. Would you, because I'm not, and so it's just something that's passing beside me, and I understand and respect it. I'm just not a fighting game guy. Would you say that what we're talking about here, the characters who have started in a stereotype or whatever, have they transcended that though from what they were originally by the way the games have gotten more advanced or backstories or how they act in games now? Is that a way that it's been not forgotten, but it's like forgiven in a way, I guess, of where they started? They're doing their best. Like, I don't remember Dhalsim's Street Fighter V outfit off the top of my head, but I feel like he no longer wears tiny skulls.
Okay.
So like that's a good improvement. Sure. But like there's always the marketing concern there too of like if you change this, are people going to recognize it? Are people going to like it?
Yeah.
But with new characters, they tried their best to avoid stereotypes. It's like, do you really recognize Abigail as Canadian, or he's not like. If
dressed as a Mountie, drinking maple syrup.
With like Super Punch-Out, did exactly that. They had a Canadian character, and he was just a big giant Mountie, or not Mountie, lumberjack.
Okay.
And they're getting better at it, and that's I think all we can really ask them to do at this point.
Yeah.
Is take the feedback, decide what they want to do with that. People can then give more feedback, buy it or not, or go on the internet and complain about it too.
Yeah,
that's all.
Well, they're gonna do that no matter what.
That's all.
We're all gonna complain about things on the internet.
I encourage people to, if they see something they don't like in terms of representation, or they feel something's insensitive, absolutely go complain about it on the internet. It's not harming anybody, and it might get might
actually start a conversation. Yeah. We're bringing in a question. I'm looking for it. I think I got it. Yes. Power Jusho writes in to kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, "Hey KFGD peeps. Recently, many Japanese created games have been getting hit by PlayStation's censor hammer for sexual content. Omega Labyrinth, Senran Kagura, and more. It was just recently found out that Neko Para on PlayStation has been censored. That it has received even though it has received an E rating. That
I think it's E on
it has
PS4
received an
E rated on Switch.
But on the Nintendo Switch version, it is the complete opposite and rated M. Angry Greg voice. Why is PlayStation censoring games now? And Angry Greg voice. It seems like there's been a change of policy at PlayStation, and many fans are upset. What are your opinions on it, and what can we as fans do to tell PlayStation not to censor our games in a respectful manner, of course? Thanks."
The simple answer is that Sony Interactive Entertainment's an American company now.
Yeah.
And like they probably have less tolerance for some of the things that defined the reputation of the Vita than they would.
The visual novels and the weird. Yeah.
And like those are the specific examples, the Omega Labyrinth Z and Senran Kagura, they had sexual exploitation of characters who were explicitly underage. And so I can understand why Sony would want to step in and say, "Hey, stop this."
Sure, because that's always the weird thing when we're talking about like for Smash, right? And a Japanese developer, a Japanese team looking and trying to figure out like what are the norms and how does that work over here? Like stuff that happens in Japan just doesn't fly as well over here.
Yeah,
and that's a broad brush I'm painting with, obviously, and I'm sure it goes both ways with stupid shit we do. But like that's how cultures work, right? Yeah.
And like there's violent stuff that like flies here that won't fly there, and
100%.
Culturally it's different, and it's fine to acknowledge that there's cultural differences, even if they're not entirely sensical. But I think it's worth it to explore like a more reason-centric idea, because like honestly, I could see Sony being like, "Okay, we'll let this game go," like specifically an example of Omega Labyrinth, and then it defining the PlayStation brand in a way they don't want.
Yeah,
because like I don't know if that game's exclusive to PS4, but if it is, that story that goes on CNN is like this 15-year-old girl
100%.
is half naked in this game,
right?
And she's explicitly 15, but in this game is only available on PlayStation 4. That's a story that like I'm sure they would rather censor 1,000 games than deal with that story.
Yeah, and that's I think the point of it, right, is that they've taken it on the chin in the past about stupid stuff like that. Yeah. I remember being at IGN and like for PlayStation Plus, they gave away some anime that a guy wrote in. It was just like, "Hey, are you aware of like what happens in this anime?" And I went and watched it. I was like, "Holy shit!" You know what I mean? And by the time I reported it to PR, the next I did it that night, and the next morning it had already been removed. Right? Yeah. They're like, "We don't want like this. Just isn't how we want to be represented. What we want it to be."
Yeah, which is like the same with Nintendo and Smash. Is that I don't know that they were aware of that before people told them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's so many moving parts over there, so many things to look into. You have no idea, right? Yeah. And I think about how small Kind of Funny is, and the times we'll say something stupid on a show that we don't understand the context for that word, or we didn't even understand that it meant that. You know what I mean? And you're like, "Oh fuck, really?" And like no one at the table knew. There's like 7 people or 5 people in the room, and nobody really understood that. Oh, that's really a stupid thing to say. Oh shit, sorry. Well, you know what I mean? You figure it out, you edit it out, you talk about it, and you have a conversation, you move on. But that's easy when it's a 7-person company talking to these people watching the show, not when you're PlayStation, when you're Nintendo, when you're talking about millions of people playing and seeing stuff, and then let alone what happens when, PlayStation 4 is the biggest console on the market, 87 million units in houses right now. Did you know, though, that this game features, and like that's what the headline would be and how it would be presented and how it would be spun in the media.
And anyone with a Twitter account has said something stupid they didn't realize would offend somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And like the best reaction to that sort of thing is just going, I didn't realize that offended people. Let me fix it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's the way you have to make that choice of if you're doubling down on something because no, this is how I really feel, or if it was an innocent mistake and you're sorry, right? Yeah. And I feel like they don't want to do this. Like you talk about it, power Jusho, why is PlayStation censoring games for the reasons we've listed here, right? And then you're talking about many fans being upset. I think it's not, with all due respect, it's not like that's a vocal minority in terms of like the people who are looking forward to those games for that reason. They don't want their Japanese games censored that way. Like, how do you tell PlayStation not to censor our games? Like, you can write in, you can tweet at them. Again, like you said it yourself, in a respectful manner. Yeah. But it's also like, I guess, I don't know, you sound like you're up to this more on me. PlayStation's it's rated E, Switch is rated M.
I don't know that game specifically, so I'm not sure.
That's what that's what he's written in here. So I mean, if that means the Switch version isn't edited or isn't
Nintendo's been doing, like, I think the other example of Senran Kagura, Nintendo let that mode go fine on the Switch, but I don't think that character was underage, so I'm not sure that's a direct comparison.
I mean, the way to be it would be, buy the version of the game you want from somewhere else. If you're going to import it and, tweet about that, talk about that, have these conversations. But it's what we always talk about, and, we can't, on the one hand, be like, oh my God, there's so much garbage. I wish there was better gatekeeping on the PlayStation. And then when there starts being gatekeeping on the PlayStation, be against it, right? And it's the same thing then with Steam of like, they're like, there is no rules, you know what I mean? With the exception of trolling and a few other rules.
Which has resulted in a number of very like offensive games. Like there have been like AIDS Hunter, I think was one of the games that got in and got removed because that no trolling rule is very broad and you just take whatever they want out. But it means that a lot of people who want to shock and offend now have that green light. Yeah.
And so like there's, ways to get that kind of content or whatever if that's what you're looking for. And I'm not saying that's what you're looking for, obviously. These are,
it's what I'm looking for.
Specific I want the games that offend and let me have sex with underage people. They're out there and you can find them, but I think it's what we talked about before when we talk about storefronts and the fact that it isn't a free market that anything goes. Like it's the PlayStation store, it's Steam's, it's Valve's store, it's Xbox's store. They're able to set the rules and guidelines on what they want it to be.
And there can actually be a slippery slope argument going there of like maybe there is a game later that you don't feel is like
crossing the line.
Yeah, has a very clear cut example of crossing the line. Yeah, and they do censor it, but at that point, your main option, besides the writing in respectfully, is hit them where it hurts in the wallet.
Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to, right? And I know that sounds goofy, but it is. Hey, we're not going to buy your next system. We're not going to buy these games. Where I'm literally supporting a different platform that is doing something differently. But as you can see right now, I think it is all platforms moving towards this. Yeah, where it is of like, all right, we need to start reining this in and figuring this out and figuring out what we understanding that our stores, even if it's not our game, our stores and what we're selling reflects on us and what our policies are.
Yeah, and like ideally, what's going to happen is that we start getting a more like world-centric view and development happens. Like, I don't know if you follow Dead or Alive at all.
I know of it and stuff. Obviously, I see the stories here and there.
So there's the sixth game is coming, and they've been having a very like schizophrenic way of looking at, like, they're talking about, oh, we've toned down the balance. We're trying to get this more focused on the fighting, less on the sexuality. Yeah. And then the last time I played the game, they kind of went entirely back on that. So like they're still trying to feel out what their fans want internationally, what they can get away with, what will get them more money, and ultimately games are a capitalist venture. Yeah. They're going to do whatever makes them the most money, and Sony's going to do the exact same thing with their
And that's where it gets, again, not even slippery slope, but like, man, how hard is this to do in this day and age of, we're going to make a game that's for our fans, and our fans want bouncy breasts, and they want skimpy outfits and whatever, right? You make that game and you put it out, and maybe your audience does love that and get what you're doing, but then there is the reaction from outside of it of like, we're talking about that game now, even though I would never play it, not based on these reasons, right? But now I'm talking about it, but I don't have a real horse in the race. Whether they totally scaled it back and there was no sexuality in the game, or they went even same thing, I'm not going to play this game just because it's not my type of game. That's what we're talking about here, even, right? Of like, and I feel for somebody who is like, oh man, they're censoring the games I really care about, but it's doing it to protect itself from a mainstream opinion, even though that would never, none of those people would ever come play these games, right? Like, I don't know anything about these games. I wasn't going to play them to begin with, probably. Like, it's a weird world to have to try to manage all these expectations and manage what the news cycle would be and manage mainstream reaction when it is just talking about a core audience, a niche audience for most of it. Video games, man. Yeah. What are you going to do? Number 2 on the Roper Report, more Smash news. Smash DLC is done and decided on by Nintendo. This is from Sakurai on Twitter. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC lineup is now complete. This time, the selection was made entirely by Nintendo. I decided we can create a fighter based on their selection, then come up with the plan. It's great to dream about your favorite fighter joining the battle, and I appreciate your passion, but please try to stay on topic when replying to tweets and refrain from flooding us and other users with requests when we're not specifically asking for feedback. Thank you.
That is, so the interesting thing about this is this was in 2 tweets that were from Masahiro Sakurai's official account. The first tweet saying like, hey, we've chosen the DLC characters, Nintendo picked them, I chose from that list.
Yeah.
That was in both English and Japanese. The second tweet pleading with people to calm down and not send them, like flood them with messages, only in English. Which
interesting.
So I've been watching his Twitter for a little while because he does tend to tweet some interesting things, and like that's how I knew about the live event in the first place. Last week, so the character for when he unveiled Incineroar, the voice actor was the former voice actor for Professor Oak in Japan. He died recently after recording Incineroar's voice clips. So Sakurai tweeted out a little message saying, this is a memorial to that voice actor. We're very proud of him. We hope he's doing well. And all the responses to it in English were people begging and yelling at him for Piranha Plant and like asking for their characters.
Yeah.
I feel like this thing of saying, hey, we're done.
Yeah.
Don't flood us with these things. We've picked the characters. Is them saying we're done. Or like, we're not going to listen to this anymore. You guys have had your say. It's over. And like there was another developer, Soria Saga. She writes the Xeno games. She's married to Tetsuya Takahashi, who's the head of Monolith Soft, which is owned by Nintendo. She also tweeted, fandoms are good, but sometimes people go too far.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing her husband has probably been harassed and bombed and flooded with character requests based on like how some of the Xenoblade characters didn't get into the game. So this to me says, in the age of social media, in a game where people care that much, like Smash Brothers, they were very unprepared for the response they were about to get.
It's the breaking point, right? Yeah. Of like, and especially for Sakurai, who's been doing this forever, right? And he's trying to make this ultimate game, and he's put all this stuff on there, and then to have the reaction to that last direct be so polarizing and have people so angry, and whether it be Piranha Plant or the single player mode, or you know what I mean, the list goes on. I can only imagine what it's like to be under that amount of scrutiny and have that open dialogue with your audience.
It's such a weird thing because that game is like literally for a $60 value, that game is packed with content.
Insane.
And like I saw people saying, "Oh, he's clearly checked out. He's not paying attention. Like he's not working that hard anymore." It's like, really, this is the response you have to that?
And that was I took I talked about this the day of the direct because Tim had woken up, come in, done his reaction. I came in hours later. Everybody had gone home to nap. And I came in and gathered the news, and I'm reading Nintendo's press release. And as I'm a casual Smash fan, you know what I mean? Like, I like playing with people, but whatever. I'm not like insane. I'm not paying attention. The game's an instant buy, whatever. I'm reading through all the stuff they announced. I'm like, fuck. This is a huge direct. I can't believe it. And then I jumped over and watched the end of and he was so like disappointed with it. And I was like, whoa. Like, we had a whole conversation on Gamescast about it, right? Of like, I couldn't believe that. For me, not being anchored in the community, that's where it would come from. That's how it would be.
I don't know if it's a specific Smash thing though, because like the idea of the marketing narrative has been around for a very long time, and the idea that you need to end strong just before your game comes out is a very powerful one, and is one that I think a lot of consumers are used to.
Yeah, like
we go all the way back to before the Switch launched. One of the reasons I think Zelda succeeded so much is that last trailer really hyped people up.
Sure,
and. I think Microsoft and Sony are all aware of this. Is why they have this is why a release trailer has been a thing in the last year and a half.
Yeah,
it's because they can get people right before the game comes out. Go, okay, these are the coolest parts of the game. Come check it out.
Yeah,
and that's where I think Smash kind of faltered because like that direct was 2 reveals that had already leaked a long time ago. They can't really be held responsible for that. But and then he spent time on like the options menu and things like that. And people were, I guess, expecting to go out of their minds crazy with hype.
Yeah,
which. When can be talked about as a thing that's probably bad in general for the way games are marketed these days.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, and that was the thing and that's what I was talking to Tim. I was like, but you were the guy who was so excited for the nightly announcements and the little things and this, that, like, why would this? And he's just like, well, this just isn't, like you're saying, the way to present it. And then I want to bring in one of the listeners. AsherMerlin wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD and said, with the reaction that the most recent Nintendo Direct seemed to elicit from such individuals as Tim and Jared, I wanted to ask a question. Why is it so hard for some people to acknowledge that there are people out there that need a single-player element to a game in order to be excited and want to play something? I currently do not have any friends who will game with me. Sure, they play video games, but all of them have families and lives and really only sit down to squeeze out an hour or so in something like God of War or Spider-Man. They are not the kind that will come over and play or hop online and play with me either. Can you acknowledge the fact that Smash and other titles in the past, present, and future, that the single-player element may be the only thing that some people are looking forward to because right now they do not have a spouse/significant other or friends with free time like most of you do at Kinda Funny Games. That's, something that I was like, wait, why are you so mad about the single player? I thought you want that. And Tim was like, it's not that I'm mad that there's a single player. I'm mad that in Tim's mind they were making a bad single player. And so that was the argument here, Asher, that I think got lost in the minutia of the day. Gamescast expounded on it in terms of like really what the problem was. Right. But yeah, it's a... They ended on a beat at least. And you hope there's still a crazy launch trailer to come, right? We still have time. December's the release, but they ended on such a weird, like, yeah, hey, here's all the minutia you'd want to know about the game, but maybe not as like this big thing we hyped up, right? Like that seemed to be the problem.
And like Smash Brothers is the best-selling fighting game currently in the industry. They probably have a sense of people are probably going to buy this regardless of how we end the marketing cycle. But the immediate visceral reaction from fans is, this didn't come the way we wanted it to. And like, if we go back to BlizzCon and Diablo Immortal, I think if there were ways to announce that game that would not have elicited that same reaction. If they had not like ended the conference on it, they probably would have like had a better message for the fans that were not expecting that to be their one more thing. Yeah. So marketing is basically psychology. And I don't know that game companies have quite grasped entirely what that means, but you and I, we've been in this industry long enough that we see this stuff. It's like, okay, cool. We got to find out more about the game. That's the end result. That's the good thing. Yeah. But most like consumers aren't. They're used to being shot into the moon at the end.
I still think my thing is I understand that it's the final Nintendo Direct for Smash. I don't think it's the end, right? We're going to get some epic
There'll be a long trailer.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also Smash. Everybody's gonna be playing. It'll be
on December 6th. Those people are still going to be like, okay, I can't wait for this game to unlock on the eShop, or like I'm going to Best Buy later tonight.
I mean, that'll be the thing, right? Especially with Game Awards running right into it. Yeah. Of like watching that, and are they going to do some kind of crazy announcement during Game Awards? Or what are they going to do?
If they just show a trailer, I think they're probably like, they'll get people hyped.
Yeah. We'll see. Number 3, there's a Riot Games lawsuit about gender discrimination. This was from Cecilia over at Kotaku. Yesterday, one current and one former employee of Riot Games filed a class action lawsuit against the League of Legends publisher, accusing it of endemic gender-based discrimination in fostering a men-first environment. The lawsuit comes 3 months after a Kotaku investigation into the sexist culture at Riot Games. The lawsuit alleges that, like many of Riot's female employees, plaintiffs have been denied equal pay and found their careers stifled because they are women. Moreover, plaintiffs have also seen their working conditions negatively impacted because of the ongoing sexual harassment, misconduct, and bias which predominate the sexually hostile working environment at Riot Games, end quote. Riot violated California's Equal Pay Act and law against gender-based discrimination at the workplace, the complaint argues. The plaintiffs are asking for compensation on unpaid wages, damages, and other penalties with an exact amount to be determined at trial. They also asked the court to certify the suit as class action. The plaintiffs bringing yesterday's complaint against Riot say they want to stop Riot's alleged practice of paying men more than women who are fulfilling the same job role, promoting men into superior roles more frequently than women, and demoting women who had similar qualifications as well-compensated men. The lawsuit complaint also says it wants to prevent Riot from, quote, creating, encouraging, and maintaining a work environment that exposes its female employees to discrimination, harassment, and retaliation on the basis of their gender or sex. Riot did not immediately respond to Kotaku's request for comment about the lawsuit. Obviously, a lot more in that from Cecilia. I broke down, hopefully, as much as I could about the actual class action suit itself.
It's interesting, and it's definitely, I think, a result of her original reporting. I think now, like, the plaintiffs are able to build a better case now that people have voluntarily come out about it, that there's been actual news stories about it, that Riot has admitted that they have problems and they're hiring specifically like gender and diversity inclusion managers to like take a better look at how they can reform.
Sure. That
lawsuit now has a better foundation just because Riot has basically said, hey, we have some problems.
Yeah, exactly. And that was Cecilia's piece in there talked about the fact that, initially that happened, Riot had made that comment, but some of the problems or some of the problem people in quotes were still there. Then they actually did leave. And so it is this thing of, there seems to be a lot of juice there in terms of like, if I was going to file a lawsuit of like, hey, clearly there was a problem. Clearly they're fixing it. Clearly we need to try to fix that.
Riot is, I mean, everyone's heard the stories for long, like since she originally reported it, that culture is endemic to that company.
Yeah.
That they do tend to have a boys club mentality, that this is the first I'm hearing about the payment model, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they can publicly talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
Like now that the lawsuit's happening, like they kind of have to stay quiet. But it'll be interesting to see where it goes and what shows up at evidence for this.
And that's the biggest thing about it, right? Is it's like for us as a commentate show of what's happening. It's hey, this is the ramifications clearly from the article that we've talked about and we've seen Riot respond to. What goes from here will be the interesting thing of does this ever go to trial or is this going to be settled out of court and how do you figure out what it's actually going to be? Because now we're into the adult stuff. I don't know the adult stuff. I know how to talk about video games and wanting to treat people better, but when it comes down to actually doing that fiscally, I don't know.
I mean, that's honestly like a good foundation for it. It's like needing to treat people better. It is not a problem solely limited to Riot.
Of course.
That women in video game development have had pay differences for a number of years. Probably like as games scale higher and higher and get bigger staffs, like I can imagine that most studios have that problem.
Yeah.
So is Riot just going to be the first, or are they going to be the only one? Is my question.
Yeah, and that's the thing is in terms of pay scales and a male being a promoter over a female and stuff like that. I doubt that. Yes, they're not the only people in video games that have that problem. But what about the boys club mentality and like the genital grabbing and like this kind of talk? Like, is that something that's being snuffed out or has been on the decline over the years, or is it still more? And I think the fact that you haven't seen more big studios have these kind of falling outs and have these giant reports makes me hopeful it is on the way out, and it's not that bad. And
the degree to which it happens at Riot seems to be unique.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. So we'll keep you posted as more and more information comes out. Final news story of the day, Cool Greg, comes from Game Informer, Andrew Ryan. Or Reiner. I screwed that one up too. I'm screwing up every Game Informer name today. Assassin's Creed continues to be fucking awesome is how I titled it. He had a different thing. Basically, I'm going to kick it over about this free November update. The free November update adds a bunch of interesting stuff, mostly focusing on side content and gameplay tweaks. Along with a new Lost Tales of Greece questline, players can look forward to additional epic events, a battle against Serapis the Cyclops, new items, and several gameplay tweaks like a level cap increase. The Lost Tales of Greece story unfolds in multiple parts and will be marked as yellow side quests on the map. They won't appear until you reach episode 5. These missions produce unique rewards and factor in player choice. The map will also contain a location of new epic battles against mercenaries and ships. Victory against these challenging foes will reward you with either new equipment or a new ship design, respectively. These events for the players that have reached level 30 or higher. Some of the smaller touches in this update are the ability to auto-craft arrows and the implementation of an extra visual layer for gear. As Ubisoft's official site says, quote, the visual customization system will allow you to combine the stats of one item and the appearance of another in the same slot. If you're worried that you hit the level 50 level cap early and the experience you gained after that is lost, the game has been keeping track and you will receive ability points for your effort.
I really like that part.
Fucking A, dude. This is awesome. As somebody who loves Odyssey and has come back to Odyssey to play more of it now, like I'm going through, I'm on platinum pace, and yeah, like for me, the things about it, increasing level cap, awesome. Remembering that I've done it, because that was I had like that chilling effect today of like, oh, when I had it, oh, they're upping level cap. I was like, fuck, I'm going to stop playing. And then it was, no, it's going to keep track of it and give me back all that stuff. Awesome. For me, the huge one, this is something Kevin and I were bitching about recently, is the visual customization, right? Of like, I love the look of this, but I want the benefits of that other piece, so I'm changing it out, and I don't look as cool as I could. Now I'm all, God, I can't wait. get myself in there looking like Wonder Woman, but have all my poison stuff. Are you kidding? That's what it's all about.
Playing as Cassandra in that game was like the perfect Wonder Woman game. If she could just fly, it would be fine.
Well, you don't even need it. You just get the you get that Athenian armor, or no, the Artemis armor, right? And then it looks just like it. It's like, yes, so good. I love this game.
It's so important for them to actually because they've announced that this is going to be the last Assassin's Creed game for about 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's important for them to keep this alive as a games as a service kind of thing.
Right.
Keep people interested and engaged with DLC. Because they could probably keep this running for the next year and a half, 2 years if they wanted to.
And that's, this came from a video from the community manager and up there at Ubisoft Quebec or whatever. And they talked about it. It's going to be a thing we're doing every month now, where we're going to come out and put out these videos to tell you what's coming in the next month. And me as, somebody who's a huge fan of the game, yes, I'm in for all of this. And they showed a new armor set they're getting that I believe is the Trojan stuff. It's blue. It looks really cool too. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. And I this is the kind of game that it'll keep encouraging me to come back. And they talked about in there, not a stat, but they're like, we know a lot of people hit level cap without seeing more than half of the game's content. So we want to give you a reason to come back and go through and do it all. I will say that as unfortunate as it is that they couldn't get that mercenary stuff working. Yeah. Oh my God.
The fact that they actually came out and said, hey, we're going to pause this for a little while. Here's the reason it wasn't working. Yeah. Here's the why we have to. It wasn't just oh, we're just going to bring this back another time. Yeah. They were very clear and open about it, and people I think appreciated that. Some people mock them, obviously.
Of course, but you're going to get mocked no matter what. It's the internet.
Yeah, but if you're going to foster a good relationship with your community and for a specific game, which Ubisoft does probably the best in the industry of keeping that relationship open. Sure. This is the way to do it. Be open and honest with people, and they'll understand.
And that's why I don't understand when so many companies get it wrong, right? And I keep seeing, as I've mentioned, and I don't mean to beat this drum all the time, PlayStation seeming to recede back and kind of go back to being the PlayStation of PS3, where it's oh no, we're PlayStation instead of being Adam Boys and Shuhei Yoshida and Gio Corsi, having people out front of it. Yeah, when something goes wrong, as long as you tell people what's happening, hey, yeah, we're on it, or this isn't working because of it, the people, again, that are talking a different angle, but the people who are in that hardcore community get it, and then it's a better look to everybody who's not playing the game, but it's oh man, Ubisoft's doing it right. At least they're actually talking about it, and this is such a great plan in terms of more content here. These are literally the things I was bitching about in Assassin's Creed, right? One of the few problems I have with that game being oh man, it'd be awesome to be able to keep that look but have that stat.
I wasn't a huge fan of the Division, but I'm probably day one on Division 2 just based on how they've been supporting that game.
Yeah. No, I can't wait for Division 2. I'm going to be all over it. But Division 2 and this November update, Imran, are so far away.
Very far.
If I wanted to know more pertinent information, more daily information, say what came to the mom and pop shops, where would I go?
You would go right here from this microphone that I'm speaking to. This right here. Yeah. Today... out today is Deathmark.
No, just read this.
Just read this part?
Yeah, just read the underlined part.
Oh, okay.
You turned the page already. You're ahead of the game.
I'm way too fast.
It's fine. Okay. You're fine.
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday. Yeah.
Take it away.
All right. Out today, Deathmark on PS4 Vita. Wow. And Switch.
It lives.
Daru, is that pronounced Daru?
I'm going to say Daru, yeah.
The Art of Cooperation, now available on our PC and Switch. Gloom, which is the happiest title.
Yeah, of course.
On PC. Hidden Folks on Switch. Fluffy Horde on PC. Knock Knock on... I swear to God, these are fake game titles.
Oh, no. Yeah, okay. We're out of... I don't know if you know this. We're out of game titles. Okay. People just look around the room. Knob Switch.
The Signature Edition version of Moonlighter on PS4. Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry on PC and Mac. Is that a D4 reference?
What do you mean D4?
D4, Swery's old game, Dark Dreams Don't Die.
Oh, maybe. It's more just perverted than that.
That's a weird game to reference. Yeah. Numbala on Switch, the one we found on Xbox One, Spit Kiss, a unique game about love, polyamory, precision platforming, launches today on iOS, Android, and PC. That sounds unique.
It sounds very unique.
Super Pixel Racers on PS4, Super Volley Blast on Xbox One. And today, it is N7 Day, so it is the famous Mass Effect holiday that we all celebrate across America.
Across America. Across the world, sir.
Bioware has announced that our Mass Effect Andromeda on Xbox One is now X-enhanced. So you can play that game with Xbox One enhancements.
Yeah. Ignacio Rojas wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD with a question I think might have been before that announcement. It says, what's good, Greg? And insert co-host name here.
Hi.
Imran. Another year and another N7 day is around the corner. Yesterday, Bioware sent out a tweet that reads, "What does N7 mean to you? Hashtag N7 day." Could it be that Bioware is ready to announce the next Mass Effect project? Is this a tease for the long rumored Mass Effect trilogy collection? Or does this, just like last year, mean absolutely nothing? Anyway, keep up the awesome work, especially you, insert co-host name here. I love your work. Yeah, let it go, guys.
I think they'll get to the trilogy collection someday.
I do too, like, but not on the horizon. Like Anthem's right there.
Yes,
they don't want to steal anything away from Anthem. They're gonna go full bore on that, right?
But they were very much against remasters in general up until Burnout.
Yeah,
and now Burnout exists, so clearly they're not against it anymore. So they might do it.
Was Burnout a Bioware? Was that Bioware?
No, I'm saying EA.
Oh, you mean EA in general?
Yes.
I apologize.
Bioware, I bet they're going to do Mass Effect because it's an easy thing to do. It's just package those games up.
100%. And I think they will do it. Yeah, but I think they're going to get on the other side of Anthem before they do that. Maybe that's an E3 thing. Maybe it's N7 Day next year. But
it is always interesting. Every time N7 Day rolls around, I'm always like, I think about the people who I see just wearing N7 hoodies, and like you don't see that with other gaming stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to see someone wearing an Undertale. Well, maybe you will, but not just randomly on the street.
Once in a blue moon, I'll see someone in a Fallout hoodie.
Yeah.
But I mean, like N7, I see all the time. It'll be like an Uber driver will pick me up in it, or I'll see somebody at the airport.
Yeah.
Like,
the cultural penetration of that is amazing.
Yeah.
Which maybe they don't even know what it means, but it's possible there's just a ton of Mass Effect fans out there.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure the day they decide to actually celebrate N7 Day with announcements, it'll get press.
100%.
Yeah.
New dates for you. Devolver Digital's Grease. What did I say? Grease,
I think.
Paints a watercolor adventure on Switch and PC December 13th. And Rhyme Games has announced today that their video game, formerly known as The Conjuring House, has a new name, The Dark Occult. I assume someone from the Conjuring franchise sent a cease and desist on that one. Deals of the day for you. Xbox. Here's one from Xbox. Xbox is happy to invite all Xbox Live members without a gold membership to play online with all their friends for free during Free Play Days for All event November 8th through the 11th on your Xbox One. We are giving all Xbox Live members free access to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and PES 2019 for a limited time now through the weekend. So there you go. Go get some Xbox on. Time for reader mail, but first I'm going to tell you it's brought to you by Brooklinen. If you didn't know, I sleep on Brooklinen sheets and I love them. Portilla loves them too. Jen, I think she loves them, but I don't talk to her as much as I talk to Portilla. Brooklinen sheets are easy. They're great. They're comfortable. You go to the brooklinen.com. You get to mix and match designs. You get to figure out what would look good in your room because as you mix and match, they show it actually popping up. I like that. When you get to see it,
I use them. They're great.
Oh, do you really?
Yes.
That's awesome. Look at that. Did you use our code?
This is months and months
ago. You suck.
ago.
I hate you. Brooklinen Sheets were named the winner of the best online betting category for Good Housekeeping. It's the fastest growing betting brand in the world with over 20,000 5-star reviews. Brooklinen.com is giving an exclusive offer to my listeners. No officers, don't worry. Cool, Greg. Be cool. Get $20 off and free shipping when you use promo code GAMES at brooklinen.com. Brooklinen is so sure you'll love your new sheets that they offer a risk-free 60-night satisfaction guarantee and a lifetime warranty on all of their sheets and comforters. The only way to get $20 off and free shipping is to use promo code GAMES at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com, promo code GAMES. Brooklinen, these really are the best sheets ever. And then Quip. One of the most important things we do every day for our health is brushing our teeth, yet most don't do it properly. Quip is a better electric toothbrush created by dentists and designers. Quip was designed to make brushing your teeth more simple, affordable, and even enjoyable. People brush too hard, and sometimes electric toothbrushes are too abrasive. A built-in 2-minute timer pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when to switch sides and helps you guide to a full and even clean. Up to 90% of us don't brush our teeth for the full 2 minutes and don't clean evenly. I did not know this until Nick got the Quip toothbrush. He loves it, won't shut up about it. And then I read that, and ever since then, I've been brushing for 2 minutes.
I could use things that think for me.
Exactly. I don't have time to. I'm lost in thoughts. Brush heads are automatically delivered on a dentist-recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5. Quip starts at just $25, and right now, if you go to getquip.com/games, you can get your first refill pack free with a Quip electric toothbrush. That first refill pack is free if you go to getquip, GETQUIP.com/games. Where are we starting in reader mail today? Okay. Kevin is my dream daddy, writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD, and Cool Greg shakes his head in disgust. Last week, Greg and Andrea were discussing the ethics of games journalism, particularly about their ethics on not leaking information from the games development world to the public. You're condensing a very long conversation there, but sure. I found the discussion compelling and would agree that robbing game developers and publishers of their chance to release information in the way they choose to is a bad thing. My question is, why is it okay when Jason Schreier leaks information? Don't get me wrong, I think he's a fantastic writer, but numerous times I've had announcements spoiled by a Schreier tweet and thought, wow, that would have been cooler if it was announced properly at a convention with a big reveal, video clip, etc., instead of a tweet from Jason. Love you all. This is where it's, I think Andrea and I were talking about something very specific and for a long time, and I think you were painting it bad. I don't think, why is it okay when Jason leaks it? Well, he's a reporter. It's the news, right? And I don't know if you're talking about my story from the PlayStation 4 thing, Andrea's personal beliefs on this. When we're talking about off the record conversations, that's all different stuff. Yeah. Like, if it was that I somehow stumbled into a PDF that was, hey, here's everything for the next Assassin's Creed, I'd make a video about that. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? If I fell into that in that way, it's different and it's case by case, I guess, in some respects.
I mean, game journalism is still fairly new. Like, game industry is new. Yeah. And like, it's just something I've been struggling with a number of times over the last couple of years, is how do you square the marketing cycle with your impetus to report? Like the obligation you have to report news. And there's been times like I've come across news and like, well, I need to check this out before they do this. Or I've come across news and had developers actually ask me like, hey, can you not report on this? Because we have a marketing thing. And sometimes I listen to them and sometimes I don't. Yeah. It's like you said, it's a case by case basis. It is the reporting aspect of game journalism is always going to be kind of muddy. Like, do we just report on layoffs? Are we solely like an business industry? Like, are we only supposed to report on games when it's good news? Are we supposed to leak news when we get a chance? And
how do you be a part of the system that is, and I don't use this derogatorily, I hope, an entertainment industry, and how do we have teeth, but not just be a mouthpiece for PR, not just be regurgitating a press release, but having this and breaking stories, but not crossing some weird, you know what I mean? Like, how many times has an indie dev slipped up and said something they shouldn't say to me, and I don't, well, I'm going to tweet about it, you know what I mean? Like, no, oh, well, I wasn't supposed to say that. Of course, don't worry about it. Like, that's news, but it's not news on the scale that it has to be told, right? Like, so it's a weird, muddied water sometimes.
And like, I'm sympathetic to the idea of, oh, this would have been cool to see on stage or whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, like, think about how little that actually matters. Yeah. In the long, like, I love the game of watching conferences. Of course. Like reacting and be like, oh my God, I didn't know Final Fantasy VII was being remade. Shenmue 3 is happening. All that, like, that's always super cool. But if you found out about it 20 minutes earlier, 3 hours earlier, 5 days earlier, all that changed was you know about it and you still, like, it wasn't presented to you in the most marketing way possible. Yeah. And like the Kotaku examples are good, that they got leaks from people who just saw Assassin's Creed, or they saw the word Shadow of the Tomb Raider in a PowerPoint. Like, on
the subway.
Yeah, on the subway in Vancouver. Like, that's, how would you not report about that? Like, I'm sure Square Enix had their plans for how they wanted to show Shadow of the Tomb Raider off, but it was years later. Yeah. And all we really got, like, the only thing that changed about that is that they got to tease it a little bit better. And I don't think they care that much, so I don't think consumers really need to. Like, it does take a little bit of fun out of your, like, day, but it's just a little bit. It's not. I
like it in a perfect world where the marketing plan goes to fruition. The hundreds of people who worked on that project, both as developers, as marketers, as a company, get their moment and get to shock everybody, right? Yeah. But I don't think, when somebody fucks up and they fuck up and show it in a public space, leave something somewhere, somebody wants to talk to Jason about, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that supersedes it or doesn't need to be reported on, or it is case by case in a way. I don't know if it's like everybody needs to get blown up every 5 seconds, but it is what is newsworthy. That's what it comes back to, right? That's what journalism is what is newsworthy.
And sometimes you find out cool stuff, but it's not something you make a post about. Like, people told me the Smash Brothers roster like 6 months ago. Sure. It's like, okay, I could post this, but one, I could be wrong and that'd be a ton of credibility gone. And two, like, does it really matter? Like, this would be a thing where it is worth it to maintain those relationships so people can talk about it and reveal it at their own pace.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. I feel you're saying it was a great point of how young games journalism is in a real sense. And it is that the amount of times I'm talking to somebody and like we're way into a conversation, like, oh, by the way, it's off the record. I'm like, of course it's off the record. Like we're having a conversation over a beer. We're at an event. You know what I mean? Like this wasn't an interview. There's ways to set up the information to bring them in. But I also imagine that those conversations are very different when Jason's having a beer with somebody at an event, unless they're super close.
They're very, like, I would be more guarded if I were a game developer around Jason Schreier than I would be around anyone here. Like, yeah. Like
Cool Greg will blow you up. Cool Greg will be up there. He'll be writing articles left and right.
Like, Jason has a reputation for that, and it's a good reputation.
Yeah.
And he is a news hound. He pulls things out that nobody else would. Like, I've seen us both get the same information, and he finds a better angle for it than I thought.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for developers to be a bit more guarded around him, but I don't think you should ever be mad at somebody for spoiling the surprise.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, and who's a reporter.
Yeah.
Shouting out in the YouTube comments, maybe in a Twitch chat. Yeah, you can be mad at them.
Like if Jason's next story is like, this is what happens in Avengers 5, like, yeah, I'll be pissed at that because I want to see that movie.
Yeah. But if he can tell me what the title of the next Avengers is, I'm all about it.
But if he says like Avengers 5 is releasing on May 25th, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's totally fine. Like that's just part of the marketing cycle. I don't care.
It's an interesting world we live in as we try to define all this and figure out what it is.
And ultimately, there's never going to be a clear-cut answer because even when we get definition, there's always going to be people who need and want different things.
Yeah. I got to get you out of here at 1:15, right?
Yes.
You got 4 minutes then with you. Let me see if there's one question I want specifically. Yeah, let's go here. Chance Reiner writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, do y'all think that streamers on Twitch and other platforms have negatively affected game sales? Instead of people going out to buy the new game that just came out, they can watch one of their favorite streamers play it instead, which I think would affect sales in one way or another. You say negatively affected is the question, and I would argue no.
Depends on the game. Like this came out a lot, especially with Telltale closing down, of like if you didn't want to play a Telltale game, you could easily watch someone do it.
Sure.
Like there are tons of options on YouTube for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I have watched people play games and then went out and bought a game in the series.
And see, that's the thing is I think the upside of it is way more. I think it's affected it in a more positive light of people know that, and we don't stream that many games, so they know what a Greg game is. They know what a Shroud game is. They see them streaming the game. They know what Ninja likes. They like these personalities. They see them playing the game, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, this actually looks cool, and I would like to buy that. Mm-hmm. I would say in terms of negatively affecting, I think it would negatively affect the same way reviews always have, where it is like, oh, I trust IGN reviews. Oh, they give it a 5. I'm not going to get it. Or I'll look into other reviews, or I'll look into videos, or I'll wait to rent it, or something like that effect. I would say like for a Telltale game, I think it's similar to what we're talking about again about there's this core audience that knows what they want to desire and they're going to buy every time. Mm-hmm. And then there is this audience that, I've heard a lot of cool things about Telltale. I don't want to play it myself, so I'll turn on a Twitch stream or I'll watch a YouTube video about it.
But those people wouldn't have bought the game anyway.
Exactly. It's not a true loss, right? Mm-hmm. It's the potential loss, but they were never potentially going to buy it either. Mm-hmm. That's how I think it nets out.
I mean, like it's saying, hey, do you think people talking about a game on Twitter, it like negatively affects the game? It's like maybe, but
yeah.
Like this is the thing that Atlas goes through a lot because like Atlas Japan is very insistent on
weird ass streaming rules.
Like they added new ones like Catherine the remake is not getting, you can't stream the second half of the game, period. So like, and you think because Atlas USA also released the Yakuza games.
Yeah,
and the Yakuza games are great. And a lot of the reason those games are popular is because people were posting GIFs of like getting a chicken or like some of the weird crazy stuff in that game. So the share function actually helps those games, but it's an internal argument, I'm guessing, of like, okay, we don't want people to know the plot twist, but they're going to know the plot twist anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I could, even if I don't stream that game, 1, I could use an Elgato if I wanted to.
Yeah.
2, I could just get the information and say it.
Yeah.
And that's going to have the exact same effect.
Yeah. It's I think that's, the Atlas strategy I've always thought is backwards. Yes. That is just like, it's why, especially when it was happening with Persona, it had such a chilling effect on people actually streaming Persona that I think the game that was a breakout like that it was like, hey, I usually don't like a JRPG, but I really like this. Like that game would have done even better, I feel like, if people could have seen it in action and understood the gameplay mechanics and seen their favorite streamer do it. And it's like, yeah, okay, they would have known what the fourth palace is, like whatever. That even as somebody who loved, who loves Persona in general, like finding out at the end of Persona 4 who the killer is wouldn't have stopped me from playing Persona 4 Golden.
And then they put him in the fighting games and the rhythm games and all that stuff later. So,
yeah, exactly. You know
like
what I mean?
That game, you just need to see like 15 seconds of it.
Yeah.
And see like the music and the UI and be like, okay, that's cool. I want to try this.
Yeah, the aesthetic is amazing.
And then they wouldn't let you do that. So
I'm going to give you one more question, or you can leave too if you need to.
I'm good for another one.
Okay, one more. Lucid Dream writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, Greg, Road to Redemption launched on PlayStation 4 yesterday, and I was wondering if you had any inclination to try it. It claims to be a modern homage to Road Rash, and it actually looks like a lot of fun based on the trailer. For only $20, I'm willing to pick it up, but I wanted your opinion first. Thanks. Lucid Dream, I came into the office today after being on the road, obviously, and had a code in my inbox, downloaded it, got to do one race as as you watched me, and we booted it up, and it's like, woof. This definitely has a PlayStation 2 2008 vibe to it. And then when I got into the race and started beating people with chains and kicking them off bikes, I was like, this feels like Road Rash.
Yeah.
This feels like Road Rash. I am inclined to play more of it and do a party mode of it. So
I really want to see that campaign. I want to know what that's like.
I've seen that campaign plus. So I've done one race, and so far I was like, it's definitely got that. It's a WWF Attitude Era vibe to it. You know what I mean? And like like an up-resed PlayStation 2 thing, but like, I want to go play more, and I want to play with Nick in it, and I want to do a party mode, so I'll keep you posted. Gamescast is tomorrow. Maybe I'll get some more races in today, but we'll see. It's time to squad up. You got to get bounce?
No, we're good.
It's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Give me your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you. Today, Andrew, you know him better as PSWii, needs help on PlayStation 4. PSWii 2008 is the PSN handle they need help with. Andrew needs help with. Hey, Tim and Andrea. I don't know why you wrote in at 12:30 with this one yesterday. You knew they were doing the show. They wouldn't see it. I'm very close to getting the platinum in Rocket League, and I need a best friend to help me get the trophy for playing an online game with a friend. I'd also love to play with more best friends in general on PlayStation 4. I'm not a pro by any means, but I've played on Steam since launch, so I have some skills. I have some other multiplayer games like Laser League and Friday the 13th. If you want to play with me, hit me up. PSWii 2008. PSWii 2008.
That is a name locked in time.
Of course. He'll never change it. He's too famous in the community for it. Imran, we asked people watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. Today, we've done well so far.
Nice.
I sometimes screw it up as we go into this. We have 3, apparently. Let me flash one them. Or Flash on him, probably. Says Dalsum still has the skulls in Street Fighter 5.
Okay.
Tagless02 says, to shine some light, or maybe not light, Nintendo is also porting over hardcore Yao story novel Omega Vampire next year, so I'm not sure how much this is going to be censored. And is Nintendo changing their outlook on the gaming community? Okay, something there for you. Zaire says, Nekopara is rated E on PlayStation 4, while the Switch is rated M, which is basically the uncensored version. So, of the things removed for the PlayStation 4 version are sexual content / relationship aspects. So I guess, yeah, you could buy it on Nintendo and get the un-thing. And then, Zaire has breaking news. Red Dead Redemption 2 has sold 17 million units during its first 8 days. And then Kebab says, Yao, what I was butchered is pronounced Yowie.
Yowie,
so there
yes.
you go. What the heck, like you know everything, all right?
It means boys love in Japan.
Whatever, Imran.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about. Imran, it's been a pleasure having you here.
It's been a pleasure being
Where
here.
can people keep up with you?
You can find me on Game Informer as the general, just news stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to find me on Twitter, it is at ImranZOMG,
Okay.
which is also a name capsule in time. I believe I stream at GI Imran.
Okay.
So it's maybe once a week. You can find me there.
Okay.
That should be more or less it.
All right. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show, kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Watch us record it live, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Watch it later, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Listen on podcast services around the globe. Tomorrow I'll have Jared. Maybe I heard he was sick. Friday we'll have Tim. Maybe I heard he's out in New York or something. I don't know. LA. I can't keep up with anybody. I leave one day. Everybody runs the coast. I don't know. Yeah. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.